World War III is once again a hot topic in the mainstream media as we're hearing it die down a little bit between Ukraine and Russia. And are starting to see it rise up between the United States and Iran, and Israel and Hamas now once again breaking their ceasefire and back at war with each other. So first, let's take a listen to a clip about Trump's remarks in regards to World War III.
President Trump's comments on World War III those are words and themes that he has been throwing around since the campaign trail. And he likes to present himself as being the leader who will be able to avert a World War III. So it's a theme that he comes back to. And I think right now, in the case of Ukraine and Russia, Adam, as you said earlier, America has to be involved in that process. And I think it's very impressive what your prime minister is doing as we speak right now and having the virtual meeting with other leaders. But ultimately, America is going to have to come to the table. I don't think Putin is going to come to the table unless President Trump is sitting at that table as well.
Trump is saying quite a bit recently, referencing World War III and saying that he's going to be the one who's going to avert it, saying that we just got pretty close with the previous administration and hopefully that we are out of the threat of that right now.
So I just want to say God bless America, because we have to say God bless. We're lucky we're still here, frankly. And this whole thing could lead, I think we have it, but this could lead to World War III very easily. Could very easily lead to World War III, but I think we're in pretty good shape, a lot better than we were before we got involved. That I can tell you. That was heading into World War III territory, and that would have been a war like no other because of nuclear weapons and other types of weapons that people you don't even want to know about.
So right now there is a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine for at least 30 days for an energy relief for Ukraine. Russia and Donald Trump came to that agreement over the phone, it says. But what's kind of growing now is the threat of World War III with Iran, because the Houthis rebels, they attacked United States warships off the coast of Yemen. This just happened recently. Now the United States is threatening to strike nuclear sites in Iran. Tucker Carlson came out and posted about this and said what he believed the consequences of this would be. And he stated, "It's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East and cost the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may be even higher. Those aren't guesses, those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set off a war, and it will be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you." It is a little strange, isn't it, that like at the very day practically that Ukraine and Russia come to a peace agreement or a 30-day ceasefire, practically on that same day the Houthis attack United States warships, and then at the same time Israel and Hamas break their ceasefire as well. So it's like the World War III thing just is not going away.
I warn all enemies. We will give a tough, decisive, and destructive response to any threat if it becomes real.
Here's a clip from France 24 English YouTube channel about the Iran-backed Yemen attack on the U.S. ships.
The Trump administration in Washington says it is continuing its airstrikes on Yemen's Houthis. The Houthi-run health ministry says dozens of people have been killed and wounded in U.S. airstrikes. A bulldozer removed debris at one site in the northwest of the country as people used their bare hands to pick through the rubble. The Houthis' military spokesman said without offering evidence that the group had targeted U.S. vessels.
The armed forces carried out a specific military operation targeting the American aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman and its warships in the northern Red Sea with 18 ballistic and cruise missiles and drones.
A U.S. defense official dismissed that claim. The U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the strikes will be unrelenting until Houthis stop their attacks. Trump's national security advisor said the U.S. attacks have killed several Houthi leaders.
This was an overwhelming response that actually targeted multiple Houthi leaders and took them out. And the difference here is, one, going after the Houthi leadership, and two, holding Iran responsible.
So again, at this time, something that everybody is saying could lead to World War III as well. Again, with so many nations involved, not only in Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine wanting to be part of NATO, which would get like practically all the world's armies behind that war as if they aren't already, then all the armies and the nations that are behind the Israel and the Hamas Gaza Strip war that's been going on and once again raging. Again, this talk of World War III, wars, rumors of wars, which is prophesied in the Bible, end times wars, Book of Revelation, Battle of Armageddon, we're seeing these things start to build up. It's pretty clear that that's the direction that the world is going. And just practically as of today, with the end of the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza, why has Israel bombed Gaza and what's next for the ceasefire deal? So now, once again, Israel is at war.
Well, it's back to wartime. Early Tuesday morning, Israeli warplanes began striking Hamas targets inside Gaza. This came on the heels of the U.S. warplanes pounding of Houthi rebel targets in Yemen over the weekend. The Trump administration also warned Iran to stop funding their proxy army or suffer the consequences.
Dozens of U.S. airstrikes and missile strikes on Houthi targets over the weekend in Yemen left at least 50 people dead, the rebels claim. Since the start of the war in Gaza, the Houthis have disrupted global shipping and cost billions of dollars with attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea. They've also targeted U.S. warships. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Fox News.
4 months ago, when we sent a ship through, it was shot at 17 times. Ships haven't been able to go through for over a year without being shot at. Freedom of navigation is basic. It's a core national interest.
On Truth Social, President Trump declared, no terrorist force will stop American commercial and naval vessels from freely sailing the waterways of the world. Trump also warned Iran to stop backing the Houthis, writing, beware, because America will hold you fully accountable, and we won't be nice about it.
The attacks lit up the night sky over Gaza with dozens of explosions. Israel says it's killed a number of Hamas leaders. Hamas claims hundreds of Gazans have been killed and wounded. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave the order overnight, stating the aim is to achieve the war's objectives, including the release of all of our hostages, both the living and the fallen. The cabinet approved the decision after Hamas repeatedly refused to release the hostages and rejected proposals presented by President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and other mediators.
What we have seen them do is prepare for a terror attack against our troops in Gaza, but more importantly, against our civilians in the communities outside of Gaza and the Western Negev. What we did is we took a preemptive strike on those terrorists, specifically those commanders, and on terror targets, removing those threats, and basically saying we will not accept this.
President Trump was informed of the plan beforehand.
The Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America, will see a price to pay.
The attacks now dramatically change the situation between Israel and Hamas after several weeks of ceasefire and negotiations. The two sides' bottom line demands are contradictory. Israel insists the war can't permanently end till Hamas frees the hostages, disarms, and gives up governing Gaza. Hamas refuses to lay its arms and give up power. It says it won't release the hostages till Israel ends the war and withdraws its troops. Hamas is now issuing threats against the captives, saying in a statement that ending the ceasefire is, quote, exposing the hostages in Gaza to an unknown fate.
There's many Bible prophecies surrounding all of this, the unrest in the earth, the wars, rumors of wars, Jerusalem, the center of end times wars, the nations gathering together against it. This is all predicted to happen, and so that's why we're seeing it happen. It's no coincidence. Once again, showing to us that the Bible is reliable, prophecy is true, and the only true God in the entire world, and the only book with true prophecy. Put your hope in Jesus, because the world's heading into an interesting direction. If you want to know where it's going, read the Bible.